guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com, and this is the hardware tour of the HTC Legend. First, let's talk about specs. The Legend is running with a 600 MHz processor, which is not quite as fast as you'll find on the Nexus 1 or the Desire, but it's quite fast, as you'll see in another video in terms of performance. It's supported by 384 megabytes of RAM and 512 megabytes of ROM, though it comes with a 2 GB micro SD card. Of course, that's expandable up to 32 gigabytes. It's also running with a 3.2-inch diagonal AMOLED touchscreen, and AMOLED display technology is fantastic. We're going to see it more and more going into the future. It doesn't have a traditional way of backlighting the screen, which means that blacks are super black, and it also helps a lot with power consumption. It also has a 3.5mm headphone jack, Bluetooth 2.1, Wi-Fi B and G, and it doesn't have the bands necessary to do 3G in the US, only overseas, so that's UMTS bands 900 and 2100 megahertz. So let's take a look at the device a little bit more closely. Let's zoom into the top here. We've got basically a flush touch screen here that is very nice looking. The real story on the Legend is that it's made out of aluminum. We're going to talk about that in a second. So up here we have light sensor, proximity sensor, and the speaker grill. The screen has an anti-oil coating, which does a really good job at keeping fingerprints away. Down here we have the typical Android buttons, and they went with actual buttons here instead of, capacitive style buttons. So we have home, menu, back, and search. Now, unlike the predecessor to this, the Hero, this device has an optical trackpad. So you can rub your finger around it. It's not a little bubble like you got with the Hero. And you can also press it inward to select certain items on the screen. You get the chin, which is nice because it really makes it feel like a phone when you hold it up to your face. I really like the chin. And then we have a kind of a chrome-looking volume up and down rocker. We've got micro USB on the bottom with a volume control, and this is where the lanyard loops in. Got this nice chiseled look on the side with this edge that's about 3/4 of an inch. And on top, we have the power standby button and, of course, the headphone jack here on the back. On the rear of the device, we see a lot of aluminum, and we also see the 5-megapixel camera at the top with the LED flash, which is nice. And it's kind of a cool design where the speaker grill is. And down here, this is where you actually go to take out the battery. Because the Legend is one piece of aluminum, there's no front and no back. It's just one piece of aluminum. So in order to get to all the stuff like micro SD card, the SIM card, and the battery, you actually have to take this off. And it takes a little bit of practice. But then you kind of slide this upwards, the battery falls out. I know, very unusual. And from here you can take out the SIM card, you can get out the micro SD card, and everything like that. Very unusual. We've never seen anything quite like this, but they've done a really good job at conserving space and keeping with this one-piece aluminum design. Now, John Wong of HTC slammed this phone against a wall. We're not going to do that. But I can tell you that the Legend is absolutely incredibly strong feeling. And it's not really apparent until you use it for a few days, when you take it out of your pocket, when you kind of squeeze it in your hand and flex it, and you realize that this phone is extremely sturdy, thanks to this aluminum design. Very nice looking, very sweet device, and it works and it feels very much like a really good phone device, unlike, say, the HTC HD2, which, of course, is a phone, but when you hold it to your face, you kind of get the feeling like you're holding a old-school PDA to your head. So we've got a lot more coming up on the HTC Legend. We're going to talk about the software, take a look at performance, and how the HTC Sense interface has evolved, because there's a lot of new changes with this new breed of devices from HTC. So tell us in the comments, what do you guys think about the HTC Legend so far? Let us know. That's it for now.